Ohio-san, Minasan, Konnichiwa. Firstly, I must apologise, as I've had computer and printer issues, and things never went to plan. So there's a lot of improvisation, mainly for my props. The 3 questions posed, I hope they can be all answered as one, or otherwise answered throughout my video. I first thought of mentioning certain scenes from what I know of the story and using a series of songs or love songs to describe these scenes. I then thought of the killer pigeons that have taken up residence on our balcony and thought of relating these to the story, as there seems to be a lot of wife swapping as such, a bit like Genji and the ladies he visits. I also thought about TV shows and soap operas that may fit this similar role play. Nevertheless, while there were many other different solutions and mediums I could use, I eventually chose to work with Chapter 9. Firstly, I'll be mentioning a bit about the flower and the festival behind this chapter. Then I'll be focusing on the famous carriage altercation, or Kuruma Arasori. I intend on using children's farm animals or toy cars as a substitute. I'll be using videos with pictures as a backdrop, along with background music. I also have an interest in horse races and bet occasionally, but mainly Melbourne Cup. So some sort of horse theme is easier for me to incorporate into my video. Here I have pictures of Maui, heart vine or heart to heart. Apologise again, it should be green. And here is a picture of flowers that stem from this plant. Red, pink and white. Oops. The carriage adorned with these flowers and leaves as part of the festival. And this lady here, she's got her carriage also adorned with these leaves and flowers and that aoi. And also on her kimono. This gentleman here has the leaves in his headdress. These are crests. The bottom one's the Imperial Family crest, shaped like chrysanthemum. And the other crest is from the first shogun, Tokugawa. They use that as the clan crest. The Jidai and Gion Matsuri, or festivals, are renowned in Kyoto, but I believe the greatest is the Aoi or Kamo festival. The plant Aoi, or more precisely, Patuba Aoi, or Aoi hollyhock, is sacred to the Kamo shrine. It grows on the forest floor and consists of a pair of broad heart-shaped leaves that spring from a single stem. At the Kamo festival, people decorate their headdresses and carriages with it, as well as laurel or katsura. In its Heian spelling, A-F-U-H-I, Afui, the word can also read to mean day of lovers meeting. This wordplay and the plant's configuration suggests the translation heart to heart, as known by Tyler, or heart vine, as known by Seidensticker from the Tale of Genji. The heart vine is the emblem celebrated in the Aoi festival, held by the 2 Kamo shrines, a festival dating back to the 7th century. Kamigamo Ginja and the Shimogamo Ginja on every 15th of May. which is an agricultural festival to pray for an abundant harvest and protection against disaster. There were natural disasters occurring that were believed to be caused by the deities of the Kamo shrines. After the emperor made offerings to the gods, the disasters subsided and a tradition began. The heart vine is believed to ward off thunderstorms and earthquakes. The two Kamo shrines are thus regarded as the protector shrines of the imperial palace and capital. During the Aoi Matsuri festival, which is led by the imperial messengers, 2 ox carts, 4 cows, and 36 horses, with some 500 to 600 people wearing splendid ancient costumes and traditional makeup, parade through the main streets of Kyoto. The extravagant parade is in the style of the ancient Heian court. Everything in the parade is adorned with the heart vine leaf crest, also called aoi. Aoi leaves are used as ornaments not only on the people's costumes, but even on cows and horses, so this festival became called Aoi Matsuri. The festival reenacts the procession of officials delivering the emperor's message and offerings to the 2 shrines of Shimogomo and Kamogomo. The most important position held in the parade is the messenger on horseback wearing a gold sword at his side, who is followed by a train of attendants. The highlight of the procession is a parade of women accompanying the proxy of the imperial princess serving the deities. She is chosen by the emperor and known as the Seodai. She is head priestess who maintains ritual purity in the role and is also dedicated to the Shimogomo shrine. The number of persons who take a share in the procession on this occasion is defined by regulation, yet the selection of this number was most carefully made from the most fashionable of nobles of the time, and their dresses and saddles were all chosen of beautiful appearance. Genji was also directed by a special order to take part in the ceremony. As the occasion was expected to be magnificent, every class of people showed great eagerness to witness the scene, and a great number of stands were erected all along the road. The day thus looked forward to at last arrived. Lady Aoi seldom showed herself on such occasions. Besides, she was now in a delicate state of health near her confinement, and had, therefore, no inclination to go out. Her attendants, however, suggested to her that she ought to go. "It is a great pity," they said, "not to see it. People come from a long distance to see it." Her mother also said, "You seem better today. I think you had better go. Take these girls with you." Being pressed in this way, she hastily made up her mind, and went with a train of carriages. All the road was thronged by multitudes of people, and many dressed in the style they call Tsubo Choso. Many of the great age prostrated themselves in an attitude of adoration, and many others, notwithstanding their natural plainness, looked almost blue from the joy expressed in their countenances. Nay, even nuns and aged women from their retreat were to be seen amongst them. Numerous carriages were also squeezed closely together, so that the broad thoroughfare of the Ichijo Road was made almost spaceless. When, however, the carriages of Lady Aoi's party appeared, Her attendants ordered several others to make way and forced a passage to the spot where the best view could be obtained and where the common people were not allowed. Among these happened to be two ojiro, or bamboo carriages, and their inmates were plainly incognito and persons of rank. These belonged to the party of Rokujo. When these carriages were forced to give place, their attendants cried out, "These carriages do not belong to people who ought to be so abruptly forced away." But the attendants of Lady Aoi, who were slightly under the influence of drink, would not listen to their expostulation, and they at last made their way and took up their position, pushing the other two back where nothing could be seen, even breaking their poles. The lady so maltreated was of course extremely indignant. She would fain have gone home without seeing the spectacle, but there was no passage for retiring. Meanwhile, the approach of the procession was announced, and only this calmed her a little. Genji was as usual conspicuous in the procession. There were several carriages along the roads on which occupants whose glance was cast. That of Lady Aoi, however, was the most striking, and as he passed by, the attendants saluted him courteously, which act Genji acknowledged. What were the feelings of Lady of Rokuju, who had been driven back at this moment? In due course, the procession passed, and the exciting scene of the day was over. The quarrels about the carriage naturally come to the ears of Genji. He thought that Lady Aoi was too modest to be the instigator of such a dispute, but her house was one of great and powerful families, famous for overweening pride, a tendency shared by its domestics, and they, for other motives, also of rivalry, were glad to have an opportunity of mortifying the Lady of Rokujo. He felt for the wounded lady, and hastened to see her, but she, under some pretext, refused to see him. The day of the hollyhock fete of the same temple came. It was especially grand, as it was the first one after the installation of the Yusei, but neither Lady Aoi or the Lady of Rokujo were present. While Genji privately took young Murasaki with him in a closed carriage to see the festival and saw the horse races. In conclusion, as the chapter title, Aoi, refers particularly to an exchange of poems at the festival between Genji and the amorous dame of Star. Seeing Genji with someone else, Murasaki, in his carriage, she writes, "Ah, it is too hard. Today when our heart to heart told me that the God blessed our meeting, I perceived that another sports those leaves." He replies, "Yours, so I would say, was a very naughty wish to sport heart to heart, when this meeting place today gathers men from countless clans." The culture of the Heian period still influences Japan today. Thank you.